Chris Sutton has called out Big Brother beating, and he's came to the defence of Brendan Rodgers. So let's dive in, folks, to this epic article here for Chris Sutton. And he says Celtic have their own questions to answer before SFA war, as four bewildering calls just don't make any sense. And that's according to Chris Sutton. So we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to see how the hell this went down, because that Hearts game, there was a lot of chaos going in to the answer, man. It really, really was. So let's dive into it. He says, it just seems like Celtic have brought so much on themselves this season with so much confusion. Rodgers has now landed in hot water for his press conference comments and could be forced to sit in the stands for the Rangers game at Ibrox. Apparently you can't question the competence of the officials, even if they have been incompetent. I can't help but think Rodgers' rant would have been more powerful if he had mentioned Celtic's penalty. That was a terrible call as well. If anything, that was the one time Don Robertson should have been called to the monitor. It was arguably a foul by Yang rather than against him. And as for Celtic's winger's red card, that incident is something I just hate about the modern game. End of quote. So, yeah, I've said this. I think what Sutton is going on about here is that Rodgers, to back up his own opinion about the incompetence of the referees, he should have used the example about the fact that they shouldn't have had a penalty and that was also a bad decision. Rodgers crying about referees, right, and saying that they're just against his team pretty much is a pathetic way to go about it. You know, you have to call out the decisions across the board for both teams. You can't just be blind to the decisions that benefit and favour your team, because then that makes you just as incompetent as the other fucking referees and delusional as the other referees, man. It does. You don't have an argument. You don't. If you're just calling out the bias you think's towards just your club, but not what's towards other clubs, then where do you really stand? It's pathetic. If Rodgers actually started off his rant talking about the examples and actually went, here, it's not just the decisions that went against us, it's also the decisions that went for us. That was never a penalty on Yang. But no, he didn't say that. But Chris Sutton also went on to say, in referring to Yang's red card, he said, a sending off, do me a favour. Was his boot high? Yes. Was it reckless and dangerous? Did it have some excessive force? No chance. I know it's the letter of the law these days, but come on, some people will bleat. Alex Scotland could have been hurt, but he wasn't, and you could get injured at any tackle. You could get injured getting at the bath, for goodness sake. Once Robertson was called over, it was only going to go one way. Even though he had the best view in the place, no one would have batted an eyelid if he stuck with a yellow card and a free kick. Likewise with the Hearts penalty, I saw ex-Premier League ref Dermot Gallagher praising the officials for being consistent with these kind of handball calls in Scotland. Give me strength, for we meant to congratulate them for consistently getting them wrong. So, with all that went on, I don't blame Rodgers for being ragey. But would he have gone so far with his criticism if Celtic were still 8 points clear at the top? I very much doubt it. You know, yeah, but that's like the key thing with Rodgers. And I think it also, I think I'm not going to pretend it doesn't work, I guess, for most clubs, like with Rangers and the whole Dan Casey incident. If Rangers were 4-0 up, right, and Dan Casey does the exact same thing, we don't care. I didn't think it was a red anyway, but I mean, Rangers fan, you wouldn't care because you'd have won the game. But the reality is, 1-0 down to Motherwell. If they go down to 10 men, 30 odd minutes into the game, Rangers win that game comfortably. You just got to look at how certain situations are in certain games. There's decisions that's going to influence games, and there's decisions that's not. It's like the Yang thing, right? If Hearts are 2-0 up in the 90th minute and he does that, and he boots Alex Cochrane in the face, I don't think you're not going to get anywhere near the same amount of complaints about it as it is in like 16 minutes into the game. That's it. Sutton did go on to say, there was a hint of deflection with his post-match reaction, which plenty of managers do when they get beat, but when is Rodgers going to carry the can for how this season is unfolding? The rest were a handy get out at the weekend, but it's not John Beaton's fault Celtic have dropped 19 points this season. It's not the officials to blame for allowing a Rangers team that's lost 5 matches to sit top of the league table. Robertson didn't leave this squad ill-equipped for Europe and now short of bodies for a title race. Rodgers and Celtic can try to create a siege mentality or even pander to the conspiracy theorists, but if they don't pull out the bag in the remaining 9 games, they'll only have themselves to blame. End of quote. And he's right. Rodgers is deflecting blame. And I said this after the game, like, there's no way that Rodgers was ever going to come out and say, yeah, some decisions were bad today in my opinion, but overall it was us. You know, we were still on the pitch. We still could have got the job done. It was just a poor performance. No, he had to go with this narrative that it was the decisions and the officials against him, as I could barely string that out and get that out. As I am feeling still pretty shite, by the way. So I appreciate it. Hit the like button. If you want to drop a super chat, go ahead. That'll buy me a few lem sips. There you want me it though. Oh, me hot water bottle. Oh, Jesus. Nearly died there. Oh, that was good. But yeah, Chris Sutton. But kind of blasting the officials and Rodgers. So yeah, Chris Sutton getting stuck in. Rodgers only got one guy to blame, and that is himself.